Hi. I had a video already recorded that I was going to upload. Um, I might still do that at some point. Might save it for another time. Um, but in that video, I recounted a story from my childhood, which I found partially amusing, and I went on for about a half hour on this thing. So if you guys are really interested, let me know. Um, but the general story was that my social studies class, and I think a lot of it is that I want to research before I tell this story, so that way I can tell it the way it was to us. Um, but my social studies class participated in an experiment which to me fully explains our current social climate, because my generation is 32 and never grew up because we let social media bring high school into the real world. So no, see, I'm looking at the screen because I'm looking at myself. I am my own audience. It's so silly to people who don't know me. Short version is I am I am an audience to myself when I look at the camera, and we'll leave it there for now. Let you guys puzzle on that until it eventually becomes something. But no, I was I decided to sit on that for now. We're gonna wait on that video. Again, I might share it later if you guys are interested, but I think I want to like retell that story another time. So instead, what am I doing? Well, I have a plan to make to go further on the particular point I'm making. Look at this! Look at this! Oh, it's so fancy. No, it's just a Bluetooth earphone I didn't take out. Um, I have a terminology for what's been bothering me in modern fiction as of late. See, I have to train myself to look up here, not down here, up here, not down here, up here. Glad I don't have the light on this camera, because if I did, I'd be blinding myself. But I have terminology for it now, for what's been bothering me in the mainstream media. And a lot of it is that I'm calling it writing by rubric. You see, all of these writers, they pat themselves on the back. They treat themselves like they're glorious and brilliant because they got paid millions for what they wrote. And I, it's been bothering me for years now. I've been trying to figure out what's wrong with it. It's what actually inspired the series that I think I already briefly summarized. I say briefly, it was multiple hours. But the Scarlet's Roost portion of the In Perpetua history. That whole story started because something was bothering me about what I was seeing, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But all these years later, I finally have it. You see, a skilled writer, a truly talented writer and storyteller, doesn't look at what should be included as though it is a recipe book. You don't just go, okay, it has everything it needs, and then leave it there. A real writer goes, okay, what are the ingredients I have? What can I use to put these ingredients together? And how do I make this a wonderful story? And in the case of Star Wars, for example, you think, oh, it's clearly World War II and space wizards with laser swords, and I'm like, no, no, no. Flash Gordon, old westerns, West, frickin' Western perceptions of World War II, westerns in general, Eastern philosophy, and all of it combined with Flash Gordon serials. So you have this very sci-fi effect. You have the man in space with a laser gun, but they're all down to earth nobodies who are unfamiliar with what's going on, but they're wunderkind. Um, and so it's this nice hodgepodge, this nice assortment across the board. In fact, I'd say Siegfried Saga does something similar, and I could list the inspirations, but it's more fun if I let you pick them out. Um, but no, it is a list of ingredients from multiple different bits of research and study and interests that George Lucas had when he was writing it. But a lot of its core comes from Flash Gordon and westerns, and it shows. And that's what gets me about it. It's like, if you know what to look for, it's plain as day. Luke is the white hat cowboy deputy sheriff, and Han Solo is the black hat, lone stranger, loose cannon that comes in as the buddy cop dynamic sets in. You even have the fact that the damsel in distress is less in distress and more of an Annie Oakley, gun-toting warrior maiden, which we all championed that, and we still do. Despite what's happened to the trope, we still champion it. But that's what gets me. Is it's not. You can't sit here and tell me that at the time it was made, there was a recipe book to make Star Wars. That somebody gave George Lucas a series of things that would make Star Wars. No, he came up with his own home cooking. And he even had to get concept artists to draw it so that corporations could tell that this wasn't going to be, because it's never been made before. It's not mac and cheese. It's not chicken and waffles. It's not any of this. It's not West Indian curry, which I love very, very much, and I have the ingredients for in my own home. And even then, I still eyeball it when I'm making the curry. It's nothing like that. He had to actually take what he had on hand in his brain and put those ingredients together in a brand new way. And a lot of the writers nowadays, they aren't doing that. They are told by corporate what needs to be in the film, and they are told that if they put what they need to do in the film, that it will be praised as a critical success. And they are not taught to innovate. They are probably discouraged from it heavily. And in that is why we get what we have, these preening, arrogant jerks with no real concept of what it takes to create an original piece of fiction. These bland stories that you can predict and at best are inoffensive and amusing. And like even the third Sonic movie, there were chances taken there. There was a recipe they were following, and that's to show that like it's not all bad. It's not all bad to have recipes. No, the problem isn't the recipes. The problem is you don't do anything to innovate them, and therefore have nothing to brag about. Congratulations, you followed instructions. No, the third Sonic movie actually did quite a few things that caught me off guard. And while some of it they had to like rush through the initial setup, like the initial first half hour was, we didn't have time to properly flesh out these moments, but we needed these emotional beats here. And I get that. That's fair. It happens. Better you rush it at the beginning than rush the ending. And they knew they were going to the Space Colony arc in some regard, and they knew they were going to be killing off Shadow in some regard. It's because it's Sonic Adventure 2, effectively. Even got the actual like command center from the Space Colony arc from Sonic Adventure 2 in there. And yet they still found ways to surprise me and to warm my heart and to to throw in just the right ingredients to make me go, you know what? This was worth seeing. And I don't get that feeling very often, because most of the time I'm sitting here going, congratulations, I have spent XYZ amounts of my time on a story I saw coming and enjoyed just fine. See, I made my hair worse. And it bothers me. It bothers me that we have all these people getting paid millions to follow corporate's recipe book and not actually make a story worth telling. Now, is my home cooking with the Siegfried Saga or anything else in Perpetua Michelin star beautiful? Oh, not yet. Not even by my own standards. Nope. But you know what? It has more heart and more spirit than what they're doing. What I'm doing is, your mom experimented with a cookbook she bought from Barnes & Noble, and what they're doing is McDonald's. One is quick, reliable, and very, very shallow in experience, and the other one, you might not be sure of what you're getting, but you know a lot of heart went into it, and you know that it's probably going to be good because your mom's been cooking a long time. If it wasn't any good, she wouldn't have served it. And so it's this thing of like, I wanted to have chefs in the proverbial kitchen that were worth the amount of money they wanted us to spend on it. And instead, they want to charge us out the nose for McDonald's. Fictional McDonald's. No. No. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I will not settle. I'm not going to. My own fiction, I'm going to fiddle and I'm going to fidget and I'm going to get it just right. I'm going to make it just the way it needs to be, as best I can, up to 85% of the way to where it needs to be for my standards. Because then, at least, even if it's not that great, it has depth, significance, and effort put into it from somebody who cares about the craft. And I'm tired of these lazy writers who do things by a recipe book. I'm not convinced they don't get half of their ingredients from an AI. I have toyed around with AI writing, and while I'm interested in it, it tops out at best at high-end fanfiction.net level forum RPs. That's really where AI kind of tops out. Which basically puts out the equivalent of a D&D campaign. Am I right, guys? I'm right. I know I am. You know it. It's just funny because I heard that the story, The Last Unicorn, was based theoretically on somebody's D&D campaign at the time. And that's one of my favorite animated films, and that goes to show you that it's like... It's one of my favorite animated films because of the visuals. And occasionally some of the lines. But even I'll admit, it's the music and the visuals that really sell that movie. It's otherwise just basically decent. And I stand by this much of... Actually, this is the perfect time. We're 12 minutes in. I'm going to wrap this up on a related note. And next video, if it proves to be plausible, I'll let you guys know how that worked out. But I have been convinced by my own brain, after a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit of everywhere, that the reason why the CW shows start with that introduction is because they were AI written to some degree. And this is dumb. It was a throwaway comment about the time Batgirl got canned. Somebody's source brought up that if Batgirl was written by AI, like that part of it was written by AI, and that they've been experimenting with it in Hollywood. And they specifically dropped that, like, oh, no, because of... They've been playing around. If this movie was written by AI, it probably would have ended up on the CW. And I'm like, interesting. And the more I've played with it, personally, since the years since that's come to light, I went, you know what? I want to see if I can do that. I want to see if I can, like, go to ChatGPT or something and get it to write even just an opening scene for a Arrowverse kind of show. And if I can get it to write something that would convincingly match up to CW's writing, I'm going to show it off to you. I'm going to read it off for you. And you may say, how do you know it'll match up convincingly? We all know. We all know how it would be convincingly like that. We all know the weaknesses of CW shows. And especially how they all open on Oliver attacking somebody on the street, or Barry attacking somebody on the street. It always opens on they're fighting somebody in the middle of the road. That kind of thing. And no, I'm not saying the opening scene is going to be that, but I'm saying we all know kind of how that goes. The CW has a formula. And I wonder if and when they started just feeding it to an AI and then just cleaning it up and making it the script. And I feel like that's really what I'd want to do. I'd have 3 different versions, right? The opening scene, if I were to write the series, The opening scene as written by AI purely. And then the scene as written by AI and then punched up by me. And I that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do that. But I'd have to write the scene myself first. Well, maybe, but no. But maybe. But it's an experiment. It's an experiment I'll hopefully do within the next week when I have some time off. But that's your video, first video of the year. A little bit more productive than the half-hour ramble about a hilarious thing that happened in social studies class when I was a junior year. Again, I want to study this and see if I can't find the exact thing that the teacher was doing. Because if I can get the exact details, I can tell the story exactly how it went down. Exactly. Note for note. Well, not note for note. I'm not that good at remembering, but I can get you. I can give you the exact framing, the exact introduction, and the exact presentation of what we went through if I can find it. So I'll be, if not next time, then another time, I will bring up that story. Again, if you guys want to see the original video, I'll look into it. I'll get back with you. I might even post it in the description or a pinned comment. We'll see how that goes. But I decided this was a better video for the year. So promises of investigating if the CW is using AI. Was using AI, because I don't even know. Does the CW still make shows? I don't think anybody cares if they do. Yes, that's probably the safest bet. Nobody cares. Maybe me because of my recent discovery, but nobody really cares. So, anyway. So there's that. There's the video that was unposted that you might be able to ask for, and have a happy year.